Good Tuesday evening, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. This, of course, is weather for Weather Geeks. Beautiful day out there for today. We're going to make it two in a row coming up on Wednesday before some big changes for the end of the week and beyond. I kind of suspect tomorrow will be the warmest day until sometime in April. Before we get to our local weather today, I did want to talk about today's date in weather history. This is the 100-year anniversary of the deadliest tornado on record in the United States. Back on March 18th, 1925, the famous tri-state tornado, called the tri-state tornado because it touched down in Missouri and then went through parts of southern Illinois before lifting finally in Indiana, so it affected 3 states. And yeah, almost 700 deaths and over 2,000 injuries. And this was, 1925. We didn't have great warning technology. Radar was non-existent. This was, kind of in the infancy of the National Weather Service even. So unfortunately, this was the kind of thing that was not anticipated ahead of time and led to a lot of loss of life. 100 years ago today, the tri-state tornado. Another little bit of business here on a brighter note. Today I recorded the first weather podcast here on 21 News. Our podcast family is expanding a little bit. If you're familiar with podcasts and if you have subscribed to the 21 News podcast, sometimes referred to as the OutQ, a couple of different or a few different offshoots of the OutQ making their debut this month. Last week, sports director Dana Balish recorded the initial episode of what's called the Score podcast. That's a sports-related podcast, of course. This week it was our turn in the weather department, and we talked about Severe Weather Awareness Week, and we talked with a local storm chaser about how he, goes about storm chasing, not only here locally, but in other parts of the country as well. I thought it was a really interesting conversation, kind of a peek behind the curtain, not only from a TV meteorologist standpoint, but also a storm chaser perspective on how to best and safely chase not only thunderstorms and tornadoes, but other types of hazardous weather as well. And our morning meteorologist duo, Jody White and Jimmy Wendelek, they'll be debuting next week The Vibe, which is kind of a pop culture / local happenings kind of a podcast. And all of these are fairly short, 15, 20, 25 minutes is what we're aiming for. And, I love podcasts. It's a medium that I've listened to for many years. I subscribe to a lot of podcasts. I have kind of a lengthy commute to work, so I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts, and I'm excited for our expansion into this arena here in the weather department. Our radar podcast will be kind of sometimes in a similar vein to Weather for Weather Geeks. It's going to be a more informal chat. It'll be weather focused, but sometimes we're going to branch out into other types of science, astronomy, even, things that you might find in the Farmer's Almanac, like gardening topics and the spring allergy season and things like that. So especially if you like podcasts, I think you'll find that informative. Subscribe to the 21 News podcast wherever you get podcasts. You can also go to our website, wfmj.com/podcasts, and you can find all of our podcasts there. All right, on to today's weather. Wow, what a change from this morning. Another big day where we had a big, what we call diurnal temperature range. We had a day like this last week where we got into the mid-70s after starting in the mid-30s. We didn't get quite that warm today, but 29 at midnight. We actually got to 25 last evening before temperatures rose a little bit overnight. 66 our high today, and we'll be almost 10 degrees warmer than this coming up on our Wednesday. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride early this week. Of course, a chilly day on Monday. Kind of joked online today that Monday was like late February or early March. Today was like late April. Tomorrow will be like late May. And then Thursday afternoon will be kind of like early March, all over the place. And that's pretty much par for the course in our part of the country at this time of the year. All right, severe weather risk, not here locally, but there will be some gusty thunderstorms that maybe try to produce some isolated tornadoes tomorrow afternoon and evening out towards Chicago and maybe as far east as Indianapolis and perhaps as far east as the I-75 corridor in western Ohio. This storm will not continue to produce a severe weather threat as it comes east. But it is Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Ohio. This includes the statewide tornado drill tomorrow morning at 9:50 a.m. Tornado sirens will be tested, and it's just a good day and a good week overall to kind of refresh your memory on what your plan is, whether at your home or at your place of work, in your car even. What's your plan in case severe weather were to strike. And so it's a good time of the year to not only refresh yourself, but members of your family. Hey, what do we do just in case? And, one of the things we talk about at this time of the year a lot is myths when it comes to severe weather, and specifically tornadoes. There's a lot of, quote-unquote old wives' tales out there when it comes to weather safety and tornado safety in particular. Some of these, I grew up even hearing, and, I wasn't raised in the 1940s or 50s, but some of these old wives' tales are decades and decades old. One of these, crack the windows in your home to equalize the pressure between the outside and inside of your house. That is a myth. You don't need to do that. All you're doing really is just letting the wind in if you do that. A lot of people believe that tornadoes don't come to certain locations because of geographical features, the presence of rivers, the presence of hills. Some people believe that tornadoes don't go to cities. They're always out in the countryside. All of those things are not true. Tornadoes are less common in cities because there's less real estate covered by cities rather than the countryside. There's a lot more countryside in the United States than there are cities. And another one of those myths is go to the southwest corner of your home. The direction does not matter at all. We just want you to get to your basement, and if you don't have a basement, an interior room, and most importantly, away from those windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. It doesn't matter what corner of your house you're in. And, tornadoes can occur at almost any time of the year. Now, around here, December is the one month where that so far is an exception. When we look back at tornadic history in the month of December, in particular, parts of western Ohio, central Ohio, closer to I-70, and even just south and east of Pittsburgh, there have been some recorded tornadoes in the month of December. But in northeast Ohio and northwest and west central PA, there's never been in recorded history a tornado during the month of December. That's the only month of the year in which our local area has not seen a tornado. We have seen tornadoes every other month of the year, and I like to talk at this time of the year about ways to get alerts. Make sure you're on your phone. Wireless emergency alerts, WIA, is activated. Some people turn that off, but go to your settings and notifications and you'll find that option. Make sure, of course, you have the Storm Tracker 21 app. And, I know in our part of the country, not many people have NOAA weather radios. They're much more common in the southern U.S., in Tornado Alley, but they're even a good idea to have around here. They are like a smoke detector for severe weather. They are fail-safe. They're going to work each and every time, whether you have power or not, and they don't depend on a cell signal, so they are super, super reliable. All right, over the next couple of days, no severe weather here. We're going to have a blustery but warm day on Wednesday. We'll get into the 70s. The wind will gust up to 35 miles per hour or so. Some filtered sunshine from time to time. A nice sunset then Wednesday evening. Followed by, here comes our cold front. Now, this front will be another strong one, but again, it won't produce severe weather, but it will produce some showers around daybreak Thursday morning. Probably a break mid to late morning on Thursday. Rain showers can try to return in the afternoon as the air mass continues to cool. There probably will be some snow flurries in the air. No accumulation, but some snow flurries in the air towards the end of the day, Thursday and very early Thursday night. Then we're back to wall-to-wall sunshine and seasonable temperatures on Friday. But this pattern we're heading into, it looks cooler and cooler. I thought this pattern would start to settle in the early part of April at this time last week, but our thinking has evolved over the last few days. There's definitely been some cooler trends on the weather modeling, so today's 6 to 10 day outlook bears that out. I think we're going to see a lot of highs in the 40s during the last week or so of March. And, while that's not super cold, it is a little below average for the tail end of March. We'll talk more about the longer range coming up on Wednesday evening's edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching this evening. Make it a great night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.